adapting faster to dramatic change. And that's something that I specialize in helping people do. I'm the Director of Game Research and Development at the Institute for the Future in Palo Alto, California. My job is to investigate how playing games can help us think more systematically, more creatively, and more strategically about how the future might be different, so we can prepare for anything and not be surprised by hard-to-predict events. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how playing video games can help you avoid future shock and be more in control of what happens next. And the first thing you need to know about how playing video games can make you more ready for anything is a rule known to professional futurists as Datter's Law. Now, what's Datter's Law? Well, if you were to visit us at the Institute for the Future, you would actually see this law painted right on our front window. Here's what it says. Any useful idea about the future should at first seem ridiculous. Let's hear that again. Any useful idea about the future should at first seem ridiculous. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's easy to prepare for futures that feel normal, that are familiar, that are similar to today. It's the weird stuff that catches us off guard. It's all of those ideas and possibilities that make us say, that could never happen. Or, I just can't imagine that. Those are exactly the kinds of ideas that we need to prepare our minds to encounter, because those are the futures that will be most challenging and most disruptive if they actually happen. I mean, imagine if you had been asked to consider these ideas just 9 months ago. In the near future, most nations will shut and lock down their borders. In the near future, virtually all children will stop going to school and do all of their learning at home. In the near future, as many as 25% of our jobs will be deemed non-essential and disappear overnight, leaving vast swaths of humanity with nothing to do. In the near future, it will even be illegal to hug your grandmother. 9 months ago, would these ideas have seemed ridiculous at first? But what if you'd been able to prepare your mind to anticipate and adapt to these challenges faster? We all have to prepare our minds now for exactly these kinds of unthinkable and unimaginable possibilities. So if they do happen, we're not frozen with anxiety. We're not stuck in old ways of doing things. We can act faster, adapt faster, and help each other more effectively. Looking around us now, we can see that the words unthinkable and unimaginable clearly no longer apply. We have all had to change our lives faster and change society faster than we ever would have thought possible. In 2020, it was the pandemic that forced us to adapt faster and change faster. In the next few years, it will be new challenges like the growing climate change crisis, or the rise of artificial intelligence, the automation of work, needing to learn to collaborate with bots and robots. We can't say for sure what the future will be, except for one thing. It will be different, and we need to be ready. That's why, in the coming years, we all need to develop a new set of mental habits of always challenging what we believe can and cannot be different, and of building the neurological pathways that allow us to detect change faster. We need mental habits that make it easier for us to come up with and experiment and test many new strategies faster, and to manage our stress and emotions more effectively. And we all need more practice in helping each other more effectively when the world around us gets more challenging. Now, my research shows that playing video games is the most effective way for all of us to quickly train our brains in this way. and for all of us to develop these new kinds of mental habits. And today I'm going to share with you the 4 reasons why. But first, I want to show you something that professional futurists call a signal of change. Now, a signal of change is something that's happening right now that gives us a clue about how we might need to change or prepare for the future, or what might make us more successful and able to thrive in the future. And here's the signal of change that I spotted just this past week. This was a Wall Street Journal article, and the headline read, "Why Boys Might Be Weathering the Pandemic Better Than Girls." And this article talked to different researchers and psychologists who noticed that in the United States, boys seem to be adapting to the difficult new reality of COVID-19 better than girls. They seem to be managing their emotions more effectively, being able to access a wider range of positive emotions each day, and they seem to be keeping up their social relationships in a way that was healthier. They even had more a sense of still purpose or reason to get out of bed every day, even if they were limited in the things they could do out in reality. And the researchers speculated that the reason why boys in the United States might be adapting to the pandemic more effectively was the fact that in the United States, boys tend to spend more time playing video games than girls. And the researchers suggested that the ways that video games keep us connected socially with our friends and our far-off family might be a really important reason that boys were doing well right now. And also just all of the wide range of positive emotions that we feel when we play, the curiosity, the excitement, the awe and wonder, the pride in our accomplishments. That was really also giving boys a lot of resilience. And my research agrees with all of this, but it also goes deeper. There are more reasons beyond just how we feel when we play games and our ability to stay connected with friends and family that actually make it possible for people who are spending more time playing video games to adapt faster to new challenges. And these are the 4 areas of research that I'm going to share with you today. The first reason why video games can help us be more ready for anything, like a pandemic, or the growing threat of climate change, or needing to adapt to AI and robots all around us, is that playing video games trains our brains to notice and detect change in the world around us faster. So think about when you play your favorite game. There's always something new to adapt to. If you're playing a competitive game against other players, you're constantly trying to detect new strategies that they might be using, new techniques or new ideas they're testing out to stay one step ahead of the competition. So you're always watching carefully for changes in what other people are doing so that you can adapt your own strategy. And if you're exploring a virtual world, you're advancing in levels, you're unlocking new areas of the map, you're also looking for evidence that what you've tried so far might need to change, that you might need to improve a skill, you might need more of a certain resource, you might need to call in more teammates or allies, or you just might need to try a creative strategy or figure out how something works that you haven't encountered before. Playing games is all about developing this kind of psychological flexibility. Now, when you have psychological flexibility, it means you're constantly scanning the world for evidence that you need to adapt, that you need a new strategy, you need a new idea, you need another teammate. Okay, so this is a skill that we're constantly building when we play video games. And research shows that this skill actually changes our brains. It actually powers up a region of the brain called the posterior cingulate cortex. And you can see that here on this image of the brain. It's highlighted in green. Now, the posterior cingulate cortex is the part of the brain that's responsible for figuring out if we need to adapt and evolve. And what it does is it monitors the feedback that we get from the world around us, and it's very sensitive to changes in feedback. It's very sensitive to noticing when something we've tried before is no longer working, or the positive result we expected, that reward we expected, it's not coming at the same rate. And if you have a really strong and active area of the brain, that this PCC is very fired up, you're able to spot and detect changes faster. And research shows that for video gamers, this region of the brain is much stronger. You actually have more gray matter. This is called increased cortical thickness. So this region of the brain, this muscle in your brain, it gets stronger. And also there's greater local functional connectivity density. Now what this means is that this part of the brain is talking to other parts of your brain much more rapidly and more continuously, so that you're able to get and process that information about how the world is changing and act on it faster. So this is the most important thing to understand about why playing video games can make you more ready for anything. Because playing video games that require you to constantly ask yourself, do I need a new strategy? Has something changed in this world? Do I need to call on someone else for help? Asking that every time you play powers up this region of the brain, it builds that PCC muscle, it increases the connectivity to other regions of your brain so that you can process and react to that information faster. And this is just the most important mental habit and neurological pathways that we can strengthen as we face a hard to predict future. Because when a new challenge comes our way, we'll be able to notice it faster so that we can act faster, adapt faster, and start to help each other more effectively. And that's just the first way that playing video games helps us be more ready for anything. Here's the second. Video games actually teach you to collaborate with and adapt to artificial intelligences. And futurists know that this is going to be one of the most important skills that we can develop for the future of learning and for the future of work. A lot of people today are anxious about the rise in certain technologies. We're worried that artificial intelligences might take our jobs or replace us. We're worried about being surrounded by machines and robots that maybe we don't understand. We don't think the same way they do. We're worried about all of the algorithms that are being used to judge us and to create scores about our health, about our productivity, and about our behavior. And the rise of all of this AI and algorithms and machine learning and robots is something we all need to adapt to. And the good news for gamers is that we are already getting very good at interacting with and adapting to and evolving our behavior for algorithms and AI and for bots. Because when we play a game, of course, what we're doing is we're interacting with algorithms. When we learn how a game works, we're adapting and evolving our behavior to a machine program. And as the world around us becomes suddenly more full of all kinds of machine programs that are forcing us to change our way of living so that we can collaborate with the AIs, so that we can understand how we're being scored and we can adapt our behavior to get a higher score. All of this experience with video games is going to give gamers an advantage. We have that comfort. We have that skill level with understanding algorithms, of collaborating with bots and AIs. And here in Silicon Valley, one of our most esteemed futurists, Mary Meeker, she actually published in her recent forecast of the next decade this really important bit of wisdom. She said, the most important work skill of the future will be the ability to interact with machines and artificial intelligences. And gamers today are training for these future jobs, whether they realize it or not. So this is good news for everybody who's already playing games, or for anybody who may not be playing games yet, but is willing to give games a try, because we can all get more comfortable with new technologies. We can all get more effective at collaborating with AI just by playing our favorite games. Now, here's the third reason why playing video games can help us be more ready for any challenge we face in the future. Playing video games actually makes us more effective at helping each other. And this may sound a little bit counterintuitive to people who are really used to playing competitive video games, people who are really active in the esports environment. Because of course, when we are playing video games, we are trying to beat other players. And this can bring out a really, highly motivated, competitive side of ourselves. But even at the same time that we're playing a competitive game, every game is also highly collaborative. We're all agreeing to play by the same rules. We're agreeing to put our time and attention on the same challenge together. And this creates a social space where we all understand that we are working together to make the game possible. So even if you're playing an esport or competitive game, you are building a kind of helping collaborative capacity because we all get better at following the rules and coming together to share our time and attention. And that's really just the foundation of how we help each other. But it goes deeper than that. There are actually 4 different ways that gamers help each other all the time. 4 ways of helping that when we practice these habits in games allow us to help each other more effectively in real life when the world around us gets challenging. And here are the 4 ways that we help each other in games. The first kind of help is called functional support. Now, functional support means you just give people what they need. And if you're playing a game, you might send somebody a gift that helps them have a little more skill or advantage in the game. You might show up on the scene if you're playing an esport together and actually literally get their back, be there, help them in that moment. These kinds of concrete ways of giving each other real assistance is called functional support. But gamers also give each other something called informational support. And informational support is just getting other people the data and learning that they need when they need it. This is something we do in gaming all the time. And think about when a new game comes out or a new feature of a game is unlocked. And we all have to figure out, what is it? How does it work? What does it take to be good at this game? What do I need to practice so that I can be successful? Anytime there's a new game, gamers are constantly talking to each other online, whether we're streaming and we're sharing our experiences and showing each other our gaming techniques in a live stream, or whether we're creating online resources, maybe we're building wikis, we're writing articles that help other gamers learn how to be good at the game. And this kind of informational support is something that gamers are really good at, especially when there's a new world that we have to adapt to. When something in the game changes, we all talk to each other about what those changes mean and how we need to adapt our strategies to be successful. Gamers also give something called appraisal support. This is a kind of help that feels really good when you receive it. Appraisal support is when you look at somebody else and you see and talk to them about their personal strengths. When you can look at somebody else and say, hey, I saw what you did. That was really creative. Or you can say, wow, I'm so impressed by how you managed your emotions under that incredible pressure. Or, I was so surprised by that strategy that you actually had the nerve to try it. You had the courage to try it when nobody else has tried it before. When you can see what someone else has done and talk to them about the personal strengths that reflects, you're helping them see their own merit and see their own value. And that's the kind of help that gamers give each other all the time. We're constantly coaching each other to get better at the game, especially our teammates. When we can give our teammates positive feedback on what they did effectively and thank them for it, that kind of appraisal support helps everybody just feel better, feel more confident, and feel ready to take on future challenges. And the last kind of help that gamers are always giving each other is just simple emotional support. And these are the kind words, the encouragements that we give each other. It could be a pat on the back or a high five. It could be, wow, great game. Just these positive words that we say to each other. Nice move, good job, that build a kind of ongoing positive emotional rapport. The more we say these supportive words to each other, the more supported we feel by our community. And gamers can be really good about injecting these positive words into their everyday gameplay. So what's really interesting about gamers is research has shown that because gamers practice these 4 kinds of emotional support, informational support, appraisal support, and functional support all the time in their favorite games, they actually do give and receive more social support from their gaming social network. So it's not just about helping inside the game. It turns out that gamers are more likely to ask people that they play with for help and are more likely to be able to think of ways to help the people they play with. And the research suggests it's because they have this incredible daily practice of helping in all of these ways. And this is just really important for the future. Whatever challenge we face, we are going to need to be able to ask others for help. And we're going to need to be able to help each other too. So this is a really powerful benefit that we're getting from games today that can help us be more ready for anything in the future. And lastly, the 4th reason why playing video games today can help you be more ready for anything is that playing games gives you the opportunity to harness something known as the game transfer effect. And this is a really simple but powerful idea. The game transfer effect means playing a game that really fires up your brain and getting all of the positive emotions and that feeling of being socially supported and helped, and then transferring your attention to something in your everyday life that is challenging or hard for you. And you can use all of the benefits of the game, get your brain fired up, get your emotions fired up, and then just go do something that's hard for you, whether it's studying something that you need your full focus and attention and you want to feel more confident about, or maybe it's having a hard conversation that you're nervous about and you want to feel more confident and motivated to do it. Maybe it's going out to exercise and you're kind of dreading it, but you really want to get that physical workout. So you're going to play the game first to build your motivation and positive emotion and sense of being supported. Let me show you a little bit about how this works. The game transfer effect, it really depends on 2 regions of your brain being fired up at the same time. The first you can see highlighted here, it's the caudate region of the brain. This is the part of the brain that makes you feel motivated and helps you focus your attention. This part of the brain gets fired up dramatically when you play a video game because the video game gives you a goal that you can focus your attention on, and it makes you feel kind of optimistic that you might be able to achieve that goal. Your brain is also firing up a region called the hippocampus, which is a part of the brain that allows you to take in more information and learn faster and adapt faster. So this part of the brain is going to supercharge your learning capacity. When you play a game for as little as 10 minutes, these regions of the brain fire up. So if there's something difficult that you have to do, or you're dealing with something incredibly stressful, like a pandemic, or extreme weather from climate change, or having to adapt at work with new skills that you're not quite confident yet, you can use video games to power up the hope and optimism and motivation and focus and learning centers of your brain so that you can go from the game back to your everyday life with a mindset and with neurological pathways that are more fired up to tackle those challenges effectively. Now, I did mention at the top of this talk that in the United States, researchers think boys are doing better with the pandemic than girls because of the fact that they're spending more time playing games. And I wanted to dig into the research, and what I saw was that in South Korea, there's actually a little more balance of gender gameplay. And this is the latest data. It shows that 70% of males in South Korea play games regularly, and 61% of females are also playing games regularly. And that's actually much closer than we see in the United States. So that's actually quite good news. It means that you have more of a gender balance in who is currently building and developing these skills. And it does have some variation in which types of games we see different players playing. We see that men are playing, 59% of men play mobile games, 49% of men in South Korea play PC games, and 24% of men play console games, whereas for women, it's 47% of women play mobile games, 25% play PC games, and 14% play console games. So one detail that I wanted to make sure I shared with you today is the fact that the research shows it doesn't matter what kind of games you play. It can be PC, it can be mobile, it can be console. You can get all 4 of these benefits from any type of game. And it doesn't matter which game you play. You might be playing League of Legends or a Lineage game. You might be playing Minecraft or Brawl Stars. You might be playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or Rise of Kingdoms or Brainout or Pokemon Go. Any of these games will build these same 4 benefits. So whatever your favorite game is, keep playing. But what I want to leave with you with now is the 4 practical rules that you can follow, the 4 practical habits that you can practice every day that will make sure you really are getting these 4 benefits. So the first rule to follow or habit to practice so that you can be ready for anything in the future is to always challenge yourself to evolve. You're always going to want to be trying new strategies and seeking out new opponents who are maybe a little bit more skillful than you, so that you are constantly powering up that region of the brain, the posterior cingulate cortex, that allows you to detect the need to change and improve faster. This is really the key to getting the most development of those neurological pathways. Always challenge yourself to evolve. The second way that you can make sure you're getting the benefits of being ready for anything in the future is to keep learning new games. Yes, play your favorite games, but every few weeks, give a new game a try, or every few months, commit some time, some hours or days to learning a game that you've never played before. This will help you master new technological interfaces so that you're having more experience with different algorithms, different technologies, different kinds of AI or different gaming bots. And this is really the key to gaining these new technology skills that will help prepare you for the future of work. So just always try new games. The third practice that you want to develop to be ready for anything in the future is to notice when you help others. You know, I talk to a lot of gamers who really aren't aware of just how much helping they do. They do think of themselves as really competitive and fierce in their gameplay, and they don't notice the helpful and kind aspects of their gameplay. So I want you to just start to notice when you are providing help to other players so that you can recognize that skill and recognize that habit. And just as important is for you to thank other people who are helping in your game community, whether they're teaching people new skills, documenting new areas of the game so others can learn faster, whether they're helping you in a match, whether they are providing you that emotional support or giving you that appraisal that helps you feel good about your gameplay and your skills. Really thank people. When you thank people for the help they give, that helps them develop and practice those habits more as well. And finally, the fourth habit to make sure that you're getting ready for anything in the future is to really actively harness this game transfer effect. This is something that you can practice and get better at. I would suggest that once a week, you play a game for a set amount of time, set a timer, could be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then when you're done, turn your attention to something that's challenging for you. Try to learn something new. Try to have that difficult conversation. Do something physical that needs you to feel a little bit braver or a little bit more confident. Do that thing that you've been putting off, that you're just dreading and don't want to do. The more you practice the game transfer effect, the more you'll be able to use it when you really need it, when you're facing a really difficult challenge and you need that game energy, that game focus, that game emotion to tackle the real world obstacle. You'll want to have had that practice in harnessing the game transfer effect. What I hope that you will take away from this talk today is that video games really prepare you for any kind of upside down world you might face in the future, any kind of world where suddenly everything feels different and we need to adapt and evolve to be successful. Right now it's a pandemic. In the future, it will certainly be climate change. It will be automation, AI, bots, and algorithms. What we've all learned from the year 2020 is that unthinkable and unimaginable things can happen. They can happen overnight. And as a society and as individuals, we need to be ready to act faster, adapt faster, and help each other through these challenges more effectively. So video games can help us do all of that. Video games give us the mental habits, help us build those neurological pathways so we can become more ready for anything. 감사합니다. Thank you very much.